Little Mashley, how's it going? Hey Julie, welcome in. How are you doing? We're down pretty low. Hello, hello. Good day to you. Good day to you. And Winward, how are you doing? Come on, just take me to the bottom. Here we go. Hello, hello, welcome in. Oops, I guess I better turn this thing on. There we go. Hello, hello. Welcome in, Jen. DNC Closet, welcome. Let's see. Let's tell the Discord. Hey Liv, how's it going? Thank you for liking the live. How are you doing today? Yeah. The Amy Grant. Is it the Amy Grant? Like for real, for real? You're on a bike right now. Maybe you should chill a little and not ride too fast. You know you're in a weird state right now, right? But yeah, you know. Okay, thanks. How are you? Joined your live as I have ADHD too, as does my little one. Yeah, me getting to the diagnosis was definitely accelerated when my daughter was diagnosed. But when she was diagnosed, I asked her, "What's it like having ADHD?" And then she told me, and it was like she had peeked into my brain and basically told me all my little secrets I had. It really it was quite the thing because she was basically just describing me. What time is it there? It's 8:14 a.m. here in Southern California. It cut out. I was just saying, be careful. You're on a bike and shouldn't be, what do you say, on TikTok, So, yep. Yeah. I had my first adult autism spectrum disorder testing appointment on Friday. It went well. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, you're in Australia. It's 1:14 a.m. Monday morning. Yeah. You love my accent? Thank you. I don't even know that I have an accent. I feel like I just talk so plain, but thank you. You did the groceries? All right, Autumn. You don't know where you're at, Gabe. You could get off your phone and then you could look on the map, right? On your phone. Just push that GPS button. Yay! Yeah, being done is awesome. Thank you for the follow, Liv. I appreciate that. But yeah, so what I typically do on these lives, is just kind of like answer questions and stuff, talk about my late diagnosis, talk about a lot of the struggles that come with it, but then also talk about a lot of the things that I've done that have helped me, cope with it, accept it, process it, and how to kind of view it, So, heyo, Joso. Having ADHD is challenging. I'm trying to better manage it, but it's difficult. Yes, the combination of both autism and ADHD is quite the challenge. And for me, it's the cause of a lot of ADHD paralysis, where I just don't do anything, I've reported you to the authorities. You're a danger to society. Are you trying to trigger the police thing? Come on, you got to do better. 124 milligrams. You got to give me a little bit more than that. That's awesome. Thank you for speaking about these things. It's not easy to deal with. It's not easy to deal with, you know, and a lot of people try and, you know, it's uncomfortable for them to hear, you know. Yeah, the water should show up. It did not. All right, give me a second, Autumn. We are going to make that happen by doing that and then doing that. Now the drink water is there. I made it a little smaller. No typo. But yeah, today feels bad. Why is that, Wondermain? Yeah. How long do you go live for? At least an hour, but it really depends. The only reason why I'm going live right now is because my son's still sleeping. He must be really tired. So, yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out till he wakes up. I already did a live this morning, usually 6 a.m. Pacific time. That's about 2 hours ago. But I went live a little earlier today because I couldn't sleep. But yeah, you know, talking about that stuff and dealing with some trolls too. But at the same time, I look at the trolls as basically the rest of the world, you know, coming in and having their stigmas, you know, their opinions on everything and trying to help shift them to, you know, something much more real and positive and productive, you know. So you have all four. All right. Well, we're diagnoses twins. I also have functional nervous disorder or functional neurological disorder, but the motor version. What else do I have? I have POTS, but that's kind of like comorbid with ADHD and autism, and that's just drink water, you know. And you're 44. I'm 44 too. This was last year, and I've already had my birthday this year. So, yeah. I have bad teeth, but I'm British. I am sorry about that. I don't know which part I'm sorry about, but whichever one you need, you can take that apology and apply it to whichever one you would like. First time joining, Miss De La Rosa, welcome in. I feel like I need someone talking in the background so I can fall asleep. Absolutely. I have fallen asleep on lives so many times, Liv, so it'll work. I'm 30, just turned 30 this year. My birthday was back in June. Both are applicable. Well, that's what you would say, not me, okay? I did not tell you which one to be sorry of. Well, a lot of people got bad teeth, but not much people are British. Yeah. Most grass is green, but not everything that's green is grass, you know. What part? The earlier part or the later part of June? I got diagnosed ADHD last Wednesday, so I've been on meds since then, and OMG, the difference. I can't believe that you just got diagnosed on Wednesday and you're already seeing the difference. Because of my CPTSD, I was triggered shortly after I started the medication. Unfortunately, severely triggered, and it put me into fight or flight, which introduced brain fog, which stopped all my medication from working. So, yeah. But that's great that you got diagnosed, you get answers, you get all that kind of stuff. It's really refreshing to talk to someone who's understanding. Yeah. That's the main reason why I'm here, is because when I found out about all this, like, I felt so alone. I felt very alienated from this world, to be honest with you. I felt like I was the only person who would go this long without knowing. And I didn't realize so many people have this specific thing happen where halfway through their life, or even some teenagers all of a sudden realize these huge things about themselves, either through hitting burnout or lots of different things. And it's really crazy that this is happening. But the crazier thing is that we don't talk about mental health. And so all of us are alone in this stuff. And I'm kind of tired of being alone, you know, pretty tired of being alone in this stuff. So I think we all should talk about it and not be alone. Who did you see? A psychiatrist? I see lots of people. I see my primary doctor. I see my psychiatrist, my therapist. Shoot, I have a neurologist because I have nervous disorders because of my trauma, all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, see a bunch of doctors. your mind is suddenly clear and I can think all of a sudden. So I did have that experience. The world came into HD. Yeah, things get clear all of a sudden. Like you realize that you're taking in more information, but you're taking in the information that you should be taking in, right? um, and even when I took it one of the first times, like my ears cleared up, like I could hear better, visually, like fog kind of like went away, and it was just little. I felt like my eyes actually focused better because I need glasses, but it just seemed so clear. And when I tried to focus on something and do something, I wasn't getting distracted. It was awesome before the retriggering. Um, but yeah, the brain fog is real, especially with ADHD and CPTSD. Try 58. Try 58 SLE. I can finally concentrate and pay attention. It's great, isn't it great? Like when you go through and you struggle with something your whole life, that's not the great part. But the great part when you finally figure it out decades later, and now you're like finally able to live. You know, that's that's insane. That's our household on a daily. All of what you just said. Um, I'm scared of going to a psychiatrist. I don't know why I've always been resistant. When you do go, don't talk about labels. Just talk about your symptoms. Talk about your experiences. Do not use labels because they're there to diagnose you, right? So you just tell them your stuff. You just tell them everything, and you let them, uh, you know, throw the labels on it. But they're gonna get you the help that you need. Um, M&Ms cost cheaper in London than they do in my country. Should go to London and get some M&Ms. I think we might have a mood disorder. Who has a mood disorder? Um, let's see. Yeah, I spent 10 minutes staring at a pink truck in awe the first time. I think you're just taking in the world. But they say my ADHD for my outburst. Well, Jordan Clark. Um, Here's the thing. ADHD, all these things actually, they all share sort of one outcome, which is emotional dysregulation. All the difficulties that come with this stuff, causing you to have short temper, not really spend as much time regulating your emotions because it is pretty chaotic. I was able to go to a therapy group program where they taught dialectical behavioral therapy, and it changed my life. I learned they have 4 pillars in DBT therapy. Emotional regulation is one of them, distress tolerance, interpersonal effectiveness, and mindfulness. And all these skills and everything have helped me so much to cope, deal, do all that stuff. But you're 14, so that means you can do the book. You could do self-therapy with books like the Dialectical Behavioral Skills Therapy or Dialectical Behavioral Therapy Skills Workbook. And also, you know, it's effective enough that like they even have them for kids, right? So I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that you could read up, and you will be inspired because once you start to see this stuff working, you will not want to go back to doing things how you used to. You know, go to counseling, but only when you have the capacity to hurt for a bit. But no, it'll get better. Yeah, and that's the thing is like working through stuff means feeling those emotions, processing it, going through it. You know, I hate CBT, but it works. CBT works, yeah, but CBT was also telling me to reframe my childhood trauma and to look at it as if people were misguided, and that kind of stuff, and forgive them. And it's like, no, my CPTSD revealed to me like exact things that happen, cognitive behavioral therapy. And it tried to invalidate what I knew was real. And that's not what I needed. What I needed was, okay, yeah, this is real. This really happened. What do I do next? What's that thing that I need to do? Because I had processed the trauma long time ago. And so, it was a bit different, how can you reframe abuse? Yeah. It's ridiculous. And so that's when dialectical behavioral therapy came in, because then there was things like radical acceptance that you learn, which is basically you just let go of what you cannot change, what is outside of your control. You give yourself permission to just let go, and you let go. And being able to let go of the fact that I did have this trauma and that I did have this and now I have CPTSD, being able to let go of it and say, like, yeah, you know what, I can't change everything that happened, I didn't ask for it. And being able to come to that acceptance was one of the huge things for me. So and EMDR, CPTSD is good, doing EMDR is I started doing some of it, but I had to stop when I started going to the program again. But I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, you have to process these emotions. And so things can get rough when you're going through therapy and you're going through all this stuff. But honestly, to get through it, you got to go through it, and processing the emotions is a very real thing that you got to do. My psychiatrist sent me to a neuropsychologist, and I just had my evaluation 2-hour testing next. Yeah, that testing is quite intense. Yeah. I'm inspired by me and Kanye. Oh, I know that, Gabe. Yeah, I don't want to do it again. I mean, it's hard. It's hard, but the thing is, it's like if you are aware of this happening, you can approach it with sort of a mindset of acceptance of it. You can feel the emotions and know why you're feeling the emotions. For me, it was, I have trauma. And whenever my amygdala is triggered, because now CPTSD means my amygdala is easily triggered, I go into fight or flight, like at the drop of a dime. But what DBT has taught me is that when I get that overwhelming sense of fear, the last thing I'm doing is being scared. The first thing I do is, why am I afraid? And I look around and no, there's nothing to be afraid. It must be my amygdala being triggered because of CPTSD. And while that doesn't stop the physical symptoms of CPTSD when you're having those types of trauma responses, it does help with the emotional aspect. So I'm able to stay grounded, stay in my prefrontal cortex. Hey, Shell, how's it going? And able to, remain grounded. And so it's awesome. Yes, where do I get this? If you're talking about DBT, you can get the book on Amazon. You could also Google DBT workbook PDF, and a university uploaded it. So you can find it there as well. But I'm telling you, those skills, it's a hard book to read. Okay, it's definitely better to get into like a group therapy kind of thing, because then you can, discuss and get different perspectives on particular things. But I know someone that's writing a better book that will hopefully be available soon, and then that one can be, will be better. I would do DBT. I did CBT for SA. It took forever, but it served its purpose. I'm sorry to hear about the SA. But not but. DBT definitely helps with a lot of sort of the understanding of things. It helps you be able to sort of accept your, the events, accept whatever, but in a way where you're just saying, okay, it happened. You don't have to like it. It happened. And a lot of the things that people struggle with is being able to just let go of the fact that they can't change that, and so many people try and like resist sort of the acceptance of it, the acceptance of reality. But yeah, yes, I am back. But yeah, I'm going home now. I should drink a Dr. Pepper. You should, Gabe. That's the best decision I've ever heard. Shell, thank you for the heart meat and the Go Populars. I appreciate you. And yeah, EMDR works more than anything, most anything. I haven't tried EMDR yet. I have done a lot of therapy. So for me, there was the emotional aspect, but there was a lot of unanswered questions that I had that I kind of needed to come to terms with through therapy. A lot of things like me having a son and realizing how much I love my son and how much I would not do what my parents did. And so for me, it was a lot of like, how is this possible? You know, how could they do this? How could they put my safety aside? You know, and all that stuff. So a lot of confusion on my part for that. So I kind of did things in an order to where EMDR would be last, because I needed to come to terms with certain things. And honestly, if I didn't have emotions tied to it, I felt like I wouldn't be processing it or dealing with it the right way. Um, let's see. A bit two dentists who after that refused to work with me. I'm scared that when I go to the therapist, she diagnosed me with something, but I'm fine. Gabe, it's like no big deal, you know, because here's the thing. No matter what, you're still you, right? Like, it's not like they're going to diagnose you with something and all of a sudden you're going to walk out of there with that thing. You're going to walk in there with whatever that thing is too. May as well just give it a name, right? But you're still you. Nothing has changed. And yeah, getting a diagnosis can be so validating. You know, a diagnosis is also pretty tough for a lot of people to get because it can be very expensive. Um, but, you know, that would also, you know, so it's a bummer because a lot of people can't afford them. But having that validation definitely does help. It helped me with validating, but the only reason why I really got it was because if I was going to get on SSRIs, I needed to know for sure that I had ADHD because my father passed from heart failure. And so it was very important for me to make informed decisions, especially if they're going to impact my heart. But yeah, I sent a perfect 100 likes without even trying. That was so satisfying. Pandemonium in the abyss. I know. Isn't it nice to like just do like an exact thing, you know, or have a round number turn up with stuff, you know? Oh man. I had shame last time. They said I got something. Well, that's just it. Don't have shame. You're you, right? If anything, come out of there feeling a little bit more empowered, knowing that you just have a little bit more knowledge and something to work with, you know? Have you heard of the gene site test? Trying that route now. Yes, I've done it. Do I still have my paperwork? It was really cool. Let me check something real fast. Scoot over, homie. Where is it? I have it somewhere here, but honestly, I don't know where it is. But yeah, I did the gene site testing, and it was really cool. You know, basically what the gene site testing does is you do a swab of your mouth to get your DNA, and they send it off to a lab. And what they do is they process it and then tell you which medication would work best for you based off of your DNA. And it's really fascinating because you can see which things you should never be on and which things you might have to keep an eye on and which things are just mostly okay. So it's really cool. What was your IQ when I was 14? I don't know. I never really trusted those tests. But yeah. It's so windy. Well, it's a good thing you're not on your bike anymore, Gabe. Yeah. Whew. Thank you for the cocktail. I appreciate that. Island Whirl. You never do those tests because you can't do math. Huh? Still heading home. Is the IQ of 64 low for someone with ADHD? I think IQ tests are very inaccurate. It's a very old way of testing. You know what I mean? And it was probably built around not knowing certain things. So, you know, I don't know. I had an IQ of 2 once when I took the test. So, you know, I'm pretty sure my IQ is a little higher than that, just a little bit, you know. My meds are getting all changed around in the messy middle. Yeah, you know what? That's where I am. I'm going through a trial right now for my SSRIs, because a year ago when I found out all this stuff, shortly after I found out about the ADHD, I was put into brain fog through the CPTSD by being triggered, and so that made things a little bit complicated because it introduced brain fog, which was so much stronger than the ADHD brain fog, and so the medication wasn't really working. I just had brain fog, like tons of it. Yeah. I don't know what that is, Jordan. Um, Go out to sell something, no one would just completely flip your umbrella. Oh my goodness. Jackie, thank you for the heart me. How are you doing today? Um, let's see. Man, describe brain fog. I'm never sure if I have it. And see, here's the thing. You don't really know that you have it until you come out of it, right? Like that's how you realize it. So I've come out of brain fog twice. Okay, one of it was with the ADHD, and one of it was the CPTSD. The ADHD one, it just kind of seemed like when I took the medication, um, everything seriously, it seems like my system came back online, but in a weird order. Okay, my ability to see what I was seeing was there, but what I was seeing was not taking in as much information. So it kind of looked foggy, like blurry in a bit. And then when I tried to focus, it just cleared up. I actually saw fog and then saw it clear, but you don't see the fog until that moment. Um, and then for the CPTSD, for me, it was, it's really just an increase in memory issues, an increase in, having issues with executive dysfunction, and just, all that weirdness that comes with it. And so, for that one, when I came out of fight or flight, I was awake, which rarely happens. And I kind of got this overwhelming sense that my body felt like it was about to wake up, if that makes sense. Now, I never feel the feeling of you're about to wake up, like whatever starts to kind of get you moving to waking up. But in that moment of being awake, it felt like systems were coming back online. And I just got this system why do I get this feeling like something's about to happen? And then like a few seconds later, like it was just like I was hit with like this sort of like jolt of like energy that cleared up my head, and it was very, very interesting. The weird thing too is that the brain fog, it numbs your emotions. And so by the time I got, was out of fight or flight, my emotions, I couldn't handle. It was way too strong, way too big. I cried a lot about some of the stuff that I had processed beforehand and not really cried enough on. Um, it was just a very weird experience, but I could see the fog, and the fog was so much more dense. It was so much more strong when it comes to how it impacted the nervous system. Yeah, so. But yeah, hopefully that helps describe it. The thing is that like I said, you can't really tell until you get out of it that you were in it. Sorry, didn't sleep much last night. Numb senses as well. A test could be to see if you could smell things you usually can or others can. That's a good thing to mention, Nick. I'm gonna pin that. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, it's things like that. Your senses. It really does impact your senses. Um, and so, yeah, it's something to definitely look out for. I am huge on somatic, body-based therapy and skills and everything, and really tuning into your body, which means paying attention to your senses. For me, I was able to figure out that when I get overstimulated, that I get chills because I started making connections with things. But those chills are not chills. It's my nervous system spiking, right? Because all of those things feel painful. It's super painful whenever I get chills from that area, like from CPTSD. But yeah. Okay, much love, but my attention span says I gotta go. See you next time. Hey, Chris, thank you for popping in. Appreciate you. Wasn't until I started practicing empathy for my son's sensory issues that I began to notice my own. Right? Like it's once you realize what specifically they're going through, and the understanding of them, which is basically empathy, right? To understand people's emotions and stuff. Um, it definitely is eye opening, you know? Um, when I dropped out of survival mode, I could smell my cats for the first time. Oh, Nick, I'll tell you. So my CPTSD has to do with, child abuse. And one of the big things that I never processed was that I just didn't deserve it. You know what I mean? And when I came out of fight or flight and I was finally in tune with my emotions, that was like the biggest cry I ever had of just, you didn't deserve it, because like that was what all the emotions and everything were basically there. So like it felt like I worked through therapy to get a lot of that stuff to the surface. And then as soon as my brain was ready to come online, when soon as I felt safe, it allowed me to, be back in, out of fog, but those emotions and everything were waiting at the doorstep just to be processed. Um, but it was so healing, you know. Um, Bro, one of my friends said, I'm going insane. You don't believe that, right? Gabe, I think a lot of people are pretty confused right now because you know that like people see you one way and then they see you another way, right? And people don't understand that, right? People don't have the grasp, the reality of it that you do. So I would say that, give them a little bit of grace. Try and, maintain, slow down a little bit so that you're not coming off too suspicious, right? But just take care of yourself, It's hard to believe how neglected and abused we were. Yeah. And it's a shame because, with all that came missing diagnoses that we probably should have gotten, you know. And the negative reinforcement of introducing fear into a kid's life from their caretaker is just wrong. It's so wrong, you know. But I have had so much work done parenting my inner child that I feel like I've gotten to a place to where I can talk to myself as my child, connect to those core parts of who I am, and nurture myself. When it comes to nurturing that inner child, because um, those things, the way I responded to them, the way I was told to deal with things, were done in a very manipulative way. And so being able to, you know, redo that, and go through and reparent myself is amazing, you know. Am I is like you just realize it was a stir for us all to watch. She got physical with you. Right? Let's see. I got chocolate milk and a Dr. Pepper because why not? Well, just don't mix them together, you know? What makes me realize my mom have a physical problem is when I see her get physical with animals. Right? So always like you just realize I was disturbed for all of us to watch she got physical. It's so brutal. Fear and respect, the same thing. Withholding love and connection to parent. Yeah, Nick. So my parents used a book from Dr. James Dobson called The Strong-Willed Child. It was first published in the late 70s. And that became their basically the Bible of their disciplining stuff. And so this book right here, this is the first edition. And then I also have the 14th edition released just like 4 years after. And it says in great detail what to do and why to do it. Hey Blob, how's it going? And then there was paddles used and stuff. So um, the thing was that my parents started very early when I was like 3, and my parents were not emotionally regulated. I believe that they are on the spectrum in one way or another, just from my own experiences and knowing like the traits that I thought were inherited from them, you know. Um, I do have the paddles. I don't always bring them out because I don't want to trigger people. But yeah, it's actually right here on the floor. Um, but I already know. I told you guys I know what I'm going to do with them. My mom actually brought them to me a few months before I realized I had CPTSD, and jokingly said, "Well, you got it the most, so you should keep these." Um, so kind of weird. You know, kind of weird. Um, Let me see. Now I can learn what they didn't have a chance to and break the cycle. I forgive my parents for not understanding how to support me. They don't have the knowledge now. I can learn. Yeah, and I mean that's fine. I think the thing is if I would have known that my parents didn't have the knowledge, that would be one thing. But to know that they went through a book to figure it out, and that the book described how to do these things to a child, and that they had to read it, and obviously not feel any emotion towards doing that to their child, you know? Um, and so, yeah, very, very challenging, difficult. I stand by what I said earlier. I'd throw it into her window at 2 a.m. Yeah, I don't know. One of my parents is still alive, so it's hard for me to think about stuff like that. Um, But yeah, my stomach hurts so bad though. So this might be a bad idea. Yeah, Gabe, it might be a bad idea. Oh, hello. Blob. Taking a break, but I have to continue checking in, of course. Some of them said earlier. Jesus, that's the most brutal part. And is that the parents are just clueless and unwilling, right? Um, I mean, because the thing is that like it teaches a framework, right? But my parents not being emotionally regulated meant that if they were upset by what I had done that I needed to get punished for, um, they were going off script, and they started like just going and going and going and going and going and going. And those were the times when I dissociated and blacked out. But yeah, um, you know, me being a parent now, um, Nick, I just saw your comment on my phone, even though I'm like scrolling up here, and I'm like, yeah, seriously, like, I don't understand that. Like, the thing is that like I'm emotionally numb to a lot of the stuff that happened, you know. And so I look at that, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not in danger anymore, but that thing sucked. Um, and I kept them mainly because it's like, well, if I don't have them, somebody else has them, right? Um, but yeah, I don't know what to do. I got 3 more hours till you babysit. Gabe, um, maybe what you should do is get some coffee or something, or I don't know, go for a run. Maybe that'll help. Um, so literally said sorry for everything she has done to me, and literally 10 minutes ago she's sorry for not getting me tested for stuff. Really? I mean, that's. How do you feel about that? Back then, that was mainstream. That was that these parents are pushed to do. Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm still encouraged to do so with my son by many people on this day. Yeah. I understand that this was mainstream, but it was also fundamentalism because of the way that it interwove the Bible into reasons why you have to do this. Not taking into account from the Christian perspective that perfect love casts out fear, right? And so using fear as a way for discipline is actually like against what the Bible preaches. And so like going to church and also going through this, I was able to see right away that this was wrong. Just how do you tell your big parents when you're a little kid that they're wrong? You know, it's rough. What does trauma mean? Like, how do I know if I have that? Um, Really, it's just like life experiences that caused, different neurological pathways to be established, and that kind of messed up your regulation when it comes to your amygdala. A lot of that stuff. Thank you for the ice cream island, World. Uh, Yeah. Forgiveness is crucial for healing. It's not the same as trust, though. Forgiveness is for you. Yeah. The thing is that like there can be forgiveness, but forgiveness also needs to come with something on their end as well. Um, and yeah, I mean, Nick, I'm like kind of in between where you are, Nick, and where full heart love is, because um, I was told lots of things as a child, like honor your father and your mother. Of course, we all hear that, right? But that was used to get me on the ground so they could hit me, right? And again, perfect love casts out fear. They're not showing love. And so there was so many things in this that were just wrong. And honestly, like I feel like a couple people in their mid 20s who are reading books and doing all this stuff should have been able to have just a smidge of empathy to realize, oh, seems really harmful to a child. And really, what the book was about was taking away the child's will, which they successfully did, except they took away my will permanently. And so I had to learn to get that back. There's a lot, and it also comes with a very unhealthy attachment to your parents that lasts forever. There's so many things in it that are just so manipulative that where it's like, I'm not too sure I want to forgive, because here's the thing. When my dad would make this, okay, he would go and he would buy pieces of wood, he would carve it out, cut it meticulously. The first one that he did, he even took some finish to it, finished the whole thing and polished it and all that. So it wasn't like they just kind of like picked up a thing. Like for every cut he made in that wood, every time he sanded it, he was intentionally doing that to harm me. There was effort put into it. And so for me, it's a lot less about forgiveness, because there was so many times throughout that where they could have said, no, we're not going to do this. And so um, I'm not necessarily holding on to bitterness towards it. I have acceptance of it. I've accepted that it happened, so I'm at peace with it. I don't feel like I need to go out of my way to forgive people who I'm not even talking to anymore, and who simply being out of my life has made my life better. Um, and I don't think that they deserve the grace, to be honest. I don't think they do, because they never once apologized for it or anything. They stuck by it. Um, so yeah. Um, it's just, that's something that each person needs to come to terms with themselves. Um, three more rooms to mop. Oh my blob. It's more about acceptance and forgiveness. That's what it is. Witchy and sensitive ADHDer. I didn't even see your comment, but yes, that's exactly what it is. I have the acceptance that this happened. This is my story. This is, you know, I do not agree with it. I do not think that this should happen. And so you can have the acceptance of it and also detest it at the same time. Um, so yeah, I mean, it really, acceptance for me was so much more important than forgiveness. Um, and especially when they're not asking for forgiveness. Now, if they were asking for it, I feel like I might. If I felt like it was genuine, I might. I'm not going to forgive somebody who doesn't feel like they need to be forgiven, because they don't feel like they need to be forgiven. So, um, have you ever been so dysregulated you were out of control and scared? Yes. Yes. About this time last year, actually, I had completely lost my sense of self. And I went from the hyper arousal trauma state to the hypo arousal. So when you're up here, it's all emotions, it's all kinds of things, and it's like everything's going full force. And when you're down here in the window of tolerance, what's happening is you're just basically dull. Nothing. You're doing nothing. You basically just accept that this is how it is. And so I was at that very low point, where I felt like it was just like life was done, you know? Um, And thankfully, like the next week I was able to get into a therapy program and stuff, and really get my sense of self back. But it did get really bad, you know. um, Trauma thing, how do you know that you got it? You could talk to a psychiatrist, because a lot of it's physical. A lot of the PTSD and CPTSD is physical, so it's like nervous system stuff. Like I shake uncontrollably if I'm near a trigger. The paddle isn't necessarily the trigger. Like I said, these things I accepted a long time ago. What I didn't accept, what I didn't actually process, was the feelings of betrayal, the feelings of sadness, the feelings of grief, of pain. Because while the abuse was happening, I was dissociating. I was blacking out, which meant I took all these emotions with me, and then when I came out, the emotions were just gone. But I never processed them. I kept them in like a part of my brain where I escaped to. And yeah. Oh my gosh, Nick with the heart meat and the first gift. That's huge. I love when people send first gifts, because somebody decided to put a little change into this thing and send it over, and I got to be the first one who was worth it. And so I really appreciate that, Nick, and appreciate you, doing that. That gesture means a whole lot more than that single coin. It means a lot to me, so I appreciate that. Let me see. Make sure I got the. All right, my thoughts are that I wonder if that is how my parents lived, and had no support. It doesn't change my boundaries. It just makes me softer. Yeah, I kind of felt like, but I don't think they were treated that same way. But I do think that a lot of things got very confusing during like the Jesus freak movement, where a lot of people were, very scared of like Satan and the devil and the end times are here and all that kind of junk, that people went to a lot of radical extreme sides of things. Like I consider this book, even though it's the author focused on the family, I consider them kind of extreme. And I consider this book very, very extreme. If anything, this book is just more telling at what's at the core of groups like that. Is control, is taking away people's will, and that's what's a bummer. The strong-willed child taking away the will. Isn't that will given by God? Free will, but then your parents say, no, you're not ready for that yet, right? Very odd. I never really thought about that, to be honest. So another thing to keep in my arsenal. Yeah, I don't think I got trauma though. Yeah, you may not. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. I'll pin that comment there so you can see that. But yeah, I appreciate it. I used to lose consciousness and had to take heavy-duty meds for years. I didn't realize that I was actually dissociating, but I still do, even though I did as a child. Basically, what happened is like, there's a lot of things that you can do with your body that your body doesn't allow you to do until you need to do them. Okay. And so everybody here has the ability to dissociate and disconnect pain and emotion and all that. Just most people are not ever approached with a situation where that's necessary. And for me, I approached that threshold when I was 3. And so I learned at a very young age how to dissociate. I found out how to dissociate. There was a lot of things that I found, a lot of things that I can physically control that people usually can't. Like this one's kind of gross, but I can control my pelvic floor. Most people cannot. And it's because as a child, I learned that if I controlled that, it would also hurt less. And so you're constantly exercising these internal muscles. And then before you know it, it's so easy to slip into and so easy to slip out of. And so there'll be plenty of times throughout the day where I just all of a sudden dissociate and I just wake myself up out of it, but yeah. Let's see. why are you unpinning my comment? And let's see, that was my superpower as a kid. Dissociating. Baby Tim, yeah. I could show you a picture of Baby Tim, but it would just make you so sad because I was so cute. So cute. And you'd be like, "Aw, how could they do that to him?" You know? Bro, I could just use speech to text and put the regular info into a program and put it in a... How have you not been doing that this whole time? What the heck? Oh my goodness. You just realized that. It's Sunday. And you've been there for how many days? Oh my goodness. Just make sure you don't have me on live while you're doing it, because then a lot of kids are gonna be dealing with dissociative disorders, right? It was on 2 seconds. Okay, and you couldn't just wait the 2 seconds? You know how much time I could have saved? Deanna, this is going back to the, you know how easy life would have been if I was diagnosed? Come on. Come on. Come on. I expect more from you with all those initials. Just kidding. Executive functioning, what? Yeah, it's like, oh no, this is just executive dysfunction showing its face. You know, that's how I kind of always take it. No, it was like a microwave. Can't let it beep. It wasn't gonna beep though. It doesn't beep. Life would be easier if we had a cheat sheet. Oh yeah, but see, here's the thing: is that I do consider dialectical behavioral therapy a cheat sheet, because it's things that it teaches you that actually makes life better that nobody teaches. You know, so yeah. Gabe, what's dissociation? All right. So dissociation for me, you know, Deanna, you'll have to tell me yes what after a second. What's dissociation? So for me, it's kind of like, this is how I did it as a kid. All right. It's this way of going into a certain mode in your mind. All right. Basically, like within your brain, you're finding ways to disconnect yourself from what's happening right now. So what I would be able to do is get to a place in my head where it kind of like a semi dream state, but not really. Like you're just kind of like a place where you're in your head, of course. And, you know, you just start shutting down functions. Okay. So I'm shutting down like pain receptors. You know, I'm shutting down, or at least tuning down those things, or tuning down emotions. Those were like kind of the two big ones that I kind of numbed or, you know, tried to block. And then, you know, I could still hear everything. And I think that was kind of like, I don't know, like, again, not a doctor, not anything, but I kind of felt like still being able to hear was a way for me to still be anchored, like kind of to the present and everything, and kept me from fully dissociating. So I think it was enough for me to be able to at least tolerate the things that I was going through, but it would require me to go into this place in my head where I can just shut off emotions and feelings and stuff. One of the things that happens, you know, that can be dissociation. For me, getting tickled hurts, okay? It physically hurts, sensory sensitivity, all that kind of stuff, okay? So I tell people that I'm not ticklish. And they'll tickle me and they'll see that I don't laugh and they'll be like, okay. But really what I'm doing in that moment is dissociating from all the incredible feelings of pressure and everything that's happening in there. Not incredible like in one way, it's just like so huge. And I'm toughing it out because I know they're not going to do it again if they see nothing. So that's like even survival mode kind of kicking in right there too. It's just like really faking it. But for me, it can happen in so many different ways, and it can happen in ways where I'm selectively dissociating just certain parts, you know, that kind of stuff. And so it can be, for me, it was kind of like a safe haven as a child. But I also recognize that now I've conditioned myself to go to that dissociative state when I'm in extreme grief. So like when my father passed away, you know, I dissociated during crying, you know, because it was just like such a routine, not knowing that that's what I was doing. But that also helped me understand why I didn't process certain emotions when I learned about the dissociative state. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question a little bit. That's just like how it is for me. What it really is, maybe something different, but that's how it is for me. You got to talk to your boss about stuff, and she agreed that DBT is also the best for ASD. Yeah, woohoo! Oh my goodness. See, here's the like my thing about DBT is that, like, especially when it comes to the autism part, is that you can take everything literal in there, and they're literal steps, and so it's like it's an exact framework. You know, there's less nuance in it. It's an instruction manual. um that's awesome. That is so awesome. Oh my goodness. You Deanna, you're gonna do so much with this program. I am so thrilled for you, because like that stuff is gonna change the world. You know, if we can get more people to do DBT and focus it for, you know, ASD and trauma, like that can and will change the world. You know, and I know you're gonna try. You know, and I am going to be rooting for you this whole time, because all these things saved my life. You know, DBT saved my life. IOP, PHP saved my life. You know, being able to learn emotional regulation and distress tolerance and all that stuff saved my life. You know, what are those again? The PHP IOP is partial hospitalization program and intensive outpatient program, basically like group therapy, constant therapy. See, some people, you know, relate it to rehab, but really it's more about, you know, even just any kind of like trauma or anything that you're going through that's very, very intense, to then get you to a point of stability. Yeah. It sounds like a vacation. Well, I'm in one right now. Go 3 days a week. It's not a vacation, and honestly, after every session, I am so emotionally drained, because there's a lot that gets processed and dealt with at those places. But those places are so necessary. They really, really are. You know, especially for making connections with people who are also going through a lot of this stuff. You know, why would they send me to a mental hospital for saying the truth on me being a god? You know, Gabe, I think they maybe just be sending that to you because they just probably want to check. They want to check and see if you really are, you know? And so I would just go with it, you know what I mean? Get that proof, you know, and just, you know, prove them wrong, you know? But yeah, um, I feel like I could do a lot with a lot of what I was here in the hospital's outpatient. Can't say that. What are you talking about? Thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. Really, truly. It's very kind of you to say. Gotta throw that one out there too. Gotta put this up so that people can see just how awesome I am. No. Oh, no, that's just a puzzle piece. All right, it was giving me some grief here, but now we're good. So, saying you're a god, yeah. RPF, yeah. I mean, they said that, but see, here's the thing. You know, if you are feeling like you're God, you definitely need to go and get it checked out so that you can get that validation, right? Because then that's when they give you the welcome packet, you know. And so, yeah, I would do that. You know, I think it's a wise decision to go to, you know, a hospital to have them check it out. You know, dude, RPF, chill. Yeah, no. We need to not be saying that kind of stuff in here anyway. So, yep. Anyway, yep. Deanna trying to bite tongue. Did you bite your tongue? It's all resolved. You helped me understand my emotions, and I'm going to a mental doctor soon, so thank you for helping me. I really appreciate that. I really do. Um, you know, the only reason why I'm highlighting these things is because I need to see them. I need to see these positive things. Because I'm not doing anything special except for just being here. I'm not anyone special. I'm just a person who lived this stuff. And so being able to share that part of me and have it be accepted in this way is humbling, truly. So thanks. I think I just need someone that understands me. Gabe, yeah, I know. And I get it. I get it. Moderator and pin the comment. Thank you so much, Beth. If time to stop these lives, I would lose myself. Oh my gosh. I would never do that to you, Anne, but at the same time, don't put me on a pedestal like that. Side note, I think I'm gonna start posting ED videos after I get caught up. Really? That's I would love to see like what kind of topics you're gonna post on that. Love how you're still in your robe. Of course, it's still the AM. I played Fortnite with my daughter after the last live. Man, we got a victory royale too. It was pretty cool. And yeah, we just had fun, you know. Oh yeah, and that's just a good. Thank you so much. I'm not really influential. I would just say like maybe I'm just somebody that a lot of people can relate to. I'm not really changing. I'm just like exposing these things that are within people and helping frame it in a way that's much more productive than grieving them. I know I'm giving myself credit. I am. Okay. Jeez, Deanna, you're acting like I'm not when I just like literally did stuff like, this. I put these comments up, right? And I put all these things there, right? And one's like this, and one's like this. And this one, even though it's kind of, and then this one, and then this one. But seeing is different than accepting. Yeah. All right. You guys are fun. So I wouldn't do that if I was like really pushing away the feedback. I'm telling you, like I need to hear them. I want to hear them, and actually putting them on the screen means that the recording will show that comment, and so then I'll be able to see it. You're not gonna hail to me. That's fine. That's fine, Gabe. You can't do that, right? So, so excited to be a dad someday. That's probably one of my biggest dreams, Gabe. I've shown you, I am cross streaming. I believe so. I should be cross streaming. It says I am. I had this stuffed animal that lived with me through everything, and looks exactly like you would expect a doll to look like when the kid's going through trauma. But ever since I had this doll and was going through everything, I wanted to be a dad. I always did. And so, I treated this like it was my kid. And so when I was 30-ish, I think, how old was I? 35 probably, or 34. That's when I became a dad. Let you compliment for 5 minutes straight. I'm not gonna bring you up so that you can compliment me. That's ridiculous. That's so egocentric. So I just know you're a great dad. I love my kids, and honestly, like that's what was like traumatic for me as a childhood, was realizing just how much I love my kids, because I didn't know I could love that much. I've always anticipated being a dad, but knowing it and feeling it is so much bigger than I could have ever imagined. I would just be saying things most people here believe about you. Come on, come on. We don't need that. Because this isn't about me, to be honest with you. Like, this is as much as I want it to be about me. Really, it's everyone else. That explains a lot. You're trying to manipulate me, Deanna, and I don't like that. You really should be working on your notes, and you can't be wasting your voice on me because your voice is now your typing fingers. So, uh, is Kane really the Undertaker's brother? I'm not too sure. Um, you have to hear them. Well, put in Discord if you want. Well, I mean, you guys could put things in Discord. I'm not stopping you guys, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want people to come in and be like, all right, here's a let's focus on Tim party, because I don't want to focus on Tim because I'm doing this for other people, you know. Explain a lot is in regard to you specifically. Oh, okay, thank you. Just realizing how much I hit my head when I was like 3 to 8. How much was that, Gabe? Yeah. Real love is such a strong emotion. It's so hard to control, but I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, now I'm caught up. I hear you, Deanna. I hear you. For reals, I do. Um, yeah. Yep, yep, yep. But yeah. Hold on a sec. All right. Sorry, was getting text. I wanted to read them real fast. Isn't headbanging an autistic symptom? That's a symptom of some really good heavy metal. But I mean, there are autistic children who do hit their heads against things and stuff. It's a self-soothing thing, I believe. But yeah. Master and Sped wants to come out. What? Still skip my comments. Okay. Hold on. I got to go all the way back up now because Anne needs a comment. Did you ask me if I'm cross-streaming? Because I am. Let's see. Literally the best dad ever. Then was that the one that I missed? See, yeah. Thank you guys. That's the thing. That's the one that I care most about, is being the right kind of dad, because I just love my kids so much, and having gone through the childhood that I did, I'm not crying. I wanted to provide something so much better, I wanted to. And now I get to, it's really cool. I waited a very long time, and it's awesome. But yeah. And then putting this one up there too. And then, of course, we can't forget the gay uncle. That's right. Iron World, thank you so much for the rose. Full Heart Love, thank you for the heart me. I just realized I forgot to thank you for that one. You said earlier I might have something mentally, but what would that be? Gabe, I don't really recall. I don't really typically go and try and diagnose people because I can't, unless it's something that I relate with somebody else and I feel like there's something that they need to, at least explore. But I'm not too sure what it would be. I would just talk to the psychiatrist. And again, talk about symptoms, don't talk about labels. So talk about your experience and they'll find you the right stuff. It's more nonverbals who are frustrating communicating. Yeah, I get that. There you go. So, yeah, Deanna has some good advice there. Gotta text back real fast. Text back. Text back. All right. Yeah. Are you open to dating, or is it too soon? I'm dating someone, and yeah, just kind of keeping it on the DL, not for any reason except for just, um, I'm in like the last few weeks of my divorce, all that stuff, and um, I just don't want to create any more drama because of that. But started seeing somebody recently, and yeah, they're really cool. Can't let that beep about a beep, Tim. What do you mean? What am I beeping about? Yeah. Oh, sorry. You can do that, Anne. You can do that. Yeah. Um, but she's really great. She is. Yep. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. She comes in here. The first time she came in here, I because I showed her everything. Obviously we had a lot of like deep talks and everything. First time she came in here, I was like, hey, check out what I do on TikTok. And she just started like talking with people and like encouraging people in the replies. And I'm like, that's what I'd be doing, you know? And so it was cool. But she's really smart. She's been through the same kind of program that I am, the DBT program, and lives a lot of those things, And so for me, it's been great getting to know her because of just like those like things that we have in common. So yeah, that's about it mostly that I want to share. But like I said, she's great, and just hopefully it goes well. Yeah. Okay. I just look at you guys know that I'm transparent and I'm open about this stuff, right? Um, but now I have to do this so that I can show, you know, because then I'll have to likely say something at some point, and all that. So, yep. Oh, really? Well, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, Deanna. When I go into your lives, and then Lauren's mentioned, like, yeah, your whole face changes, you know. Um, but yeah, people, her to show, right? Um, no. But see, here's the thing. You can't hide it, and so it's best to just embrace it, And then you turn like beet red. Um, and like I get it because it opens you up to like people teasing you and stuff, but isn't that part of it anyway? To be a little teased, you know? Um, you know. Um, but yeah, so um, yeah, it's great. Um, I can't, and he's about in the same area you are in regards to everything, to like anime and that sort of stuff, like Pokemon. I don't like anime per se. Pokemon, I play like Pokemon Go and everything, but not like consistently. Mostly like when I take my kids to the park, and because we have a lot of Pokestops around our neighborhood, and so we'll do a lot there. There's a couple gyms as well, um, and so I can walk just like down like maybe 10 houses, and be at the park where there's a gym. So kind of cool. Um, and it's in the center of the neighborhood, so it's fun. So is what's going on with me right now relatable? Not for me, Gabe, because I haven't really had those types of experiences. You know, kind of like feeling how you're feeling, but I do think, you know, talking with someone, you know, um, talking with Deanna, you know, may be helpful. I think she had suggested something up there about going live or whatever, but really I think a big part of it is you just like taking some deep breaths and just kind of like calming down, you know. Um, you know, who's your favorite Pokemon? I don't know really, to be honest with you. There's a few. I'd have to go through and actually look. Um, I was just talking about you on live. Just want to send that before I go to Pokemon Go. Let's see. My favorite things are anime, Japanese music, jumping spiders, Animal Crossing. I've played Animal Crossing. I have a pretty decent island, but I gave it to my son because I stopped playing. But yeah, I made a really cool one that was like a uh, enclosed village, you know, and so like you would appear at the airport outside like these mountains, and you have to walk all the way around and stuff. Five Nights at Freddy. Okay. Oh, you're good. I just you know, acronyms. Let me look at my um, Pokemon so that I can remind myself of them and which one I would consider to be my favorite. Let's see. Because there are some for reals, and if I like it, it's only because of how it looks, like nothing to do with like its skill or anything like that. Let's see. I mean, I really like the Eevee, but um, yeah, that's kind of more of a high level one. Um, let's see. I don't know. Why don't you guys pick one for me? What do you think my favorite one would be? If I start acting weird, this medicine causes drowsiness and dizziness. Well, maybe you should go lay down for a little bit. You know, take the medicine and lay down just so that if you do get dizzy or drowsy, you are in bed to fall asleep. um, Probably Ghastly, because I know that that was me all of 2023. So I'll pick that one. That was basically who I was. Um, um, yeah, yeah. So like, here's the thing. I had small intestine bacteria overgrowth, and you can tell the difference because of the gas on both ends, and it is so terrible. And I had it for a year. So Ghastly was me. If I take my meds more, will I start to stop feeling side effects? Beth, I think that a lot of times the side effects can be temporary, like you adjusting to the medication. Sometimes it could also be like if you're dealing with one thing or something, there may be these types of side effects. Um, but you know, well, is this something that was already being answered by you, Deanna? Um, um, yeah, I don't know. But there is an adjustment period, you know, where you do kind of have to be a little bit more open to there being side effects. You know, doesn't necessarily mean they'll be long term, but adjustments. You know. Um, See, and I'm not even a doctor. I'm just smart. Just smart. Propanolol. Is it? I think that's what I'm taking for my butt. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Yep. Yep. TMI? Come on. Seriously, you've been in here? You've been in here and now you're calling TMI? Island World? You have no idea. You move that I into the middle, what happens there? What do you get? Rearrange those letters. Just moving one. You get me, okay? That's what you get. You get me. That just made my heart go even faster. I might have a heart attack. Gabe, just go lay down in bed. Seriously. You took the medicine. Go lay down. Chill. Listen to some calming music or watch Mallrats or something like that, but then just go lay down. Nobody's watched Mallrats, I bet. Yeah. See, even Deanna says, you know, that's a good idea, and all she keeps doing is validating how smart I am. So, yeah, I think just laying down and chilling out would be great. To be honest, like seriously, whenever I'm feeling anything weird, I lay down because you don't know what to expect next. You know, you can feel your heart beat again. I mean, that's good. Doing that right now, great, Gabe. Great. I'm proud of you because that is something that's going to help. And if you're going to help yourself, you got to do the things that are actually going to help, you know, and laying down, it's a perfect thing to do right now. Take your medicine and just lay down, you know, even nap if you can, but if you can't, just chill, you know. I would probably be Nurse Joy because she heals Pokemon. Oh. I mean, like, feel it. So your heart's beating again. You can feel it beating again. Why did it stop? And you're the Pokemons? Oh, well. Thank you for the rose, Island World. Oh, I need to stand for a minute. Not trying to flex on my standing desk, but legit just need to stand. So, gotta catch them all. It's kind of like with the diagnoses, right? When people say, "Oh, look at you with all the alphabet," you know, gotta catch them all. If she goes live, I'll probably leave. You're not gonna lie. Do it. Do it. If Deanna goes live, do it. You know, you definitely would get better advice than what you'd get from me. And probably a lot more compassion too. Not that I'm not compassionate, but just I'm also pretty dry, you know. And did a heartbeat start once you accidentally took 2 doses? And what's going on? Gotta scroll up, gotta look at what's going on. Oh, 2 doses? Oh. I didn't, like, I don't know. I'm in my gown because my nerves are still on fire. And so any air that touches arms or anything really that's out hurts. So if I don't need it out, I don't I cover it up. If I don't need it out, I'll cover it up. Tim, you're like Dad Sexter's dad or uncle. Are you like comparing me to like cousin Eddie from the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? Because I kind of feel like that's where this is going because of the robe and everything. But I just want to make sure that we stop that and we nip that in the bud like right away, so that we don't progress down that path. Okay. But yeah, I'm more the dad that comes out in my robe and says, "Have you guys gotten ready yet?" You know, stuff like that. You know, so that's me. But why can't I be a dad in a kimono? I can be a dad in a kimono. Look at me. I am the uncle now. Love it. I never saw that movie. Um, but at least I understand the references. It's not a kimono, it's a dressing gown. Well, according to Amazon, where hath I purchased it from, it said kimono. So I don't know what to tell you. Hey, Marcy, how's it going? Oof. What should I do while babysitting? Should I try to get money for pizza? I think you should. Yeah, maybe. Sure. I'm doing okay. Doing okay, Marcy. Thank you for the heart me. Um, Jilly B, welcome in. Thank you for liking the live. We're just hanging out. And you know what I want to do? I need to go check something real fast, all right? So you guys talk with each other for just a second. I wanted to check my check to see why my son wasn't up yet, but he was up now. So talk to each other, goes mute. Yep. I know. Kai can't join. Parents won't let him on his phone apart from answering messages. I get it. Should I was thinking like, okay, so here's something that I want to do, but I don't know how to like structure it, right? Is I want to be able to have like a multi-guest live where a lot of the regulars are able to come up and just talk, you know, and all that stuff for those who want to. You know, that we could put a little bit more face to the community, and, you know, give opportunity for those people to, you know, have more time and all that stuff, you know. What would you guys think about that? And how would we know when to have it when everyone's all over the world? Um, that's one of the things I am wondering. And Island World, love that. Great. Alice has people in our live all the time. Yeah, see, here's the thing is that like it really does change depending on what type of live you have. So when I've done boxes, it's been there you are. How are you doing, Desiree? I just told a lot of people about you, so you know. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, so I think it's just finding the right time. But when I've opened and had people on as multi guests, it got weird. It got weird quick. Very quick. I'm sorry, what was wait, sorry, what was the idea? The idea of having the multi-guest thing and yeah, and having people come on, you know, regulars, all that kind of stuff, and talking, sharing, you know, getting to know the community a little bit more, that kind of stuff, you know. Everyone's super ox. What? Did you find ADHD to get worse with age? It did with me, but I was hitting burnout. You're awake and alive. Those are two very good things. Very good things. Hi, hi, hi. Goes quiet. um, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's gotten worse for you with age. Yeah, for me, it was kind of hitting burnout. I don't know if it's going to get worse with age, but I would assume it would, because, your memory does get worse with age. Little things do get worse, and I'm sure there's some kind of trickle down effect, or something that's there that happens. Um, but yeah, 5:40 p.m. in the UK. It's only 9:41 a.m. here on this wonderful Sunday morning afternoon. Wonderful Sunday morning afternoon. Wonderful Sunday morning. Do you take medication for it or free will? Right now, the medication doesn't work, but I do take it. So, yeah, um, it'll work eventually. I'll find something, you know. Yep, 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 yep. Um, oh yeah, there's a lot of people from the UK who come in here. You get a lot of people from the UK and Australia, and yeah. Where else is everyone from that's in here? Anywhere we haven't talked about yet? Um, Blob is Norway. Hmm, exactly. But the thing is like multicultural, all that stuff. Like we just all share a lot of experiences, a lot of things we deal with, and I think it'd be good. It'd be good to connect people together, and especially the thing is like I truly, really, really don't want this to be about me, and so having the guests up and having people connect on that stuff, I think would be really cool. Heck yeah, heck yeah. It's nice to have some British friends in it. um, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I am probably gonna have to go because my son is now up. Um, Nice to have some American friends. Well, you got the best ones here, and nice friends too. Yes, absolutely. You accidentally bent into a nerve. Oh my gosh. So yesterday, like my neck pops all the time. Like I go like that, and it just pops because a lot of it I think has to do with my CPTSD and the nervous, regulate dysregulation that goes on. But last night I went like that, and I felt like I popped something or pinched a nerve, and it shot from like my toes all the way up, like the side of my face, and then up to my head. It was extremely painful, and like, oh my gosh. Um, your daughter's in Girl Scouts now. Yeah, she went to her thing, um, and then her other thing. Um, yeah, because she's gonna have an all day thing today. Yeah, I pinched a nerve. Heck yeah, I pinched a nerve. I thought my brain was gonna explode. I thought that was it. I thought I was a goner, but thankfully I am still here today to tell the story that popped my neck and pinched my nerve. Um, has my daughter learned to bake yet? Not yet, but she has done some baking because her mom makes cookies, and so she's helped her with that. Um, so she has some baking experience, but not really solo or doing anything besides the cookies that she's learned. So I guess, yeah, she has learned to bake, to answer that question. You once banged your elbow and fainted? Yeah, that is insane. Um, so nice and wholesome. Um, so this is weird. Like I felt like well, I know I passed out from pain, but I did something with my piriformis that made me pass out. I was like outside, um, and it was like 1 o'clock. Then all of a sudden it was 5 o'clock, and but I remembered right before I, nothing that there was significant amount of pain. Um, Yeah. So glad I didn't, but that was horrific pain. What was horrific pain? Hey Maria, welcome in. I don't know if it was a funny bone, but people sure did laugh. Hey Josh, how's it going? Oh, nerve cut by a needle. Ugh. No, 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 no. My brain wants to explode right now just from its own trauma that it experienced last night. Man. It's not that I just get physically uncomfortable with the thought of things. To be honest with you, I've passed out from thinking about blood. What happened last night? You mean when I fell asleep? Or something else? I can imagine, and even though it's not happening to me, yeah. Because I think we've all pinched a nerve, so you can only imagine what it would feel like to sever a nerve, you know? Or to have a needle go through, you know, stuff like that. Oh, your brain caught up? Alright, cool. Empathy. You think that the empathy is the reason why you can kind of like feel it and stuff? Like, is it like physical empathy? Did I just start a conversation about nerves? Well, you did. You did. But it's relatable because CPTSD is a nervous disorder. And I have functional nervous disorder, which is what my, not my stemming that I'm doing now, but like physical non-seizure seizures that I have. So, hey, it's kind of related, you know? And because we've all experienced pain, so we can empathize with each other on this, you know? Emotions are sent through the nervous system. Well, there you go. Yeah. So this is what's great about this stem that I have was when I had a baby to hold. So I could stem like this all day long. And it was just holding the kid. The kid would go to sleep and I'm stemming and I just felt comfortable. And so you'll see me in line like at the grocery store and I'm doing this. And I really wish like I just had like a baby because it's like I could just sit there and be like, you know what I mean? Or holding the baby, you know? Uh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But this is baby number 3 right here. Right here. You know. We're good. We're good. Are we good? We're good. But yeah, it matched my stem when I became a dad. No, I'm talking about how when you know my kids were you know very little, it was convenient to have this be my stem, my swaying back and forth. Um, you know because yeah, I was there. Um, well, I mean, let me see. I was gonna grab a pair of scissors, you know, to explain the answer to your question. Um, but I can't find them. Oh, here they are. So this might answer the question. Okay. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Have you ever smelt your own flesh burn? Ugh. And the thing is, I went away to go look somewhere else, and they were just right here within arm's reach. So, have I? Yes, I have. When they cauterized certain things, and then, yeah. Have you ever felt your or smelt your flesh burn? Or, yeah. Um, as soon as I come back, you're playing with scissors. What did it smell like? Cooked Tim. Well done. Scissors, because somebody was asking if I wanted to have more kids, and I was just kind of answering with that. Cooked Tim. Yep. No spices, no nothing, just plain. Yep, I did have that done. A couple years ago. How is that impressive? I mean, never mind. I feel like if I were to answer that, you would tell me that it's TMI, and then I would have to remind you about the rearranging of those letters. So, oh, the way I handled the scissors. Well, I mean, I was kind of like brute force to it, you know. When it comes to TMI, remember that I exist. But yeah, I had it done a few years ago. Yep. Anyway, well, what do you mean not funny for me? I mean, I can make jokes out of it too. Just I haven't really put too much thought into those jokes. But, you know, give me some time. Give me a few days. You know, I'll have those jokes ready for you and memorized so that I can just whip out the joke whenever. But it just takes a lot of work and effort to prepare for those jokes. But I'm going to be so having the vasectomy jokes. Like, I'll be #1 jokester of those in a few weeks. Just give me some time. Thanks, Beth. Appreciate that. I didn't actually put much effort into it, to be honest. This used to be like a serenity room for me or whatever. Like, I would use it when I was like going through like trauma pretty significantly. I would turn the lights red and I would darken everything, and so the room would be more like orangish. Actually, it was more like that. And then I would give myself more like warm white light that would then help me like slow down my mind, you know, meditate and regulate and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but now we blue, right? I think it was that one, or is it that one? Should be that one, right? That's the good one. And it can do things too, but it changes the colors. So I don't know. But keeping it blue is kind of cool because it just all flows together, you know? My favorite color? You want to take a guess? What are you sorry for me for? Minors present. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to control your jokes. I'm just talking medical professional stuff. Blue, blue. I mean, I don't know. I mean, got my guitar here. Got my one of my water bottles. It's actually a blue. What else do I got that I've picked out color specific. That thing is blue. The the thing that's holding the black licorice right there is blue. And then baseball caps. Like one of the reasons why I was drawn to the Dodgers was because of the blue as a child. So I mean, there's that. Yeah, blue is it. You know, blue. It's blue. It's blue. And it's not the most well kept secret. um, you know, so. Also, were you there when my partner changed his name? Yes. Oh my gosh, I was wondering who that was. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. I love that, Autumn. Oh my gosh, and all the innuendos and everything that was going on during that time. I swear that was like the most fun I'd have in a live, as a commenter, you know, because just being able to like troll all these people was so wonderful. And then all of a sudden, Jesus came into the chat. It was perfect. It was perfect. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So now your partner has to be called Jesus for a week, right? Yeah. So, what are you gonna do? You should have Jesus drop into this live sometime. I have not. I have not. So. There's been no mentions of water breaks in a while. Is this not there? Oh, because I put it in this pocket. And because I tied it around my thing here. Oof. I don't know what I'm doing. It didn't work? All right, 1 second. Were you diagnosed? You speak well. Are you asking if I was diagnosed because I speak well, or are those two separate statements? There we go. There we go. See, now you see the people are joined, so the water's gonna work. The water will work. Water bottle sound bath was nice. Oh, that's that sound, right? That everyone hears when I put the water bottle down. He will do whatever it takes to make a stupid joke. Autumn, I'm the same way. I am absolutely the same way. I will go out of my way. Have fun with your goblins, Desiree. Have a good rest of your day. The reverberation, yeah, I've heard. I don't hear it because I don't want to hear myself. But yeah. Hey, Betty. Yeah. Do you even hear myself? No, I mean, like, I can hear my voice through my ears and because I'm speaking, but that's the only way that I can hear myself. I can push a button to hear myself, but then I have to hear myself. And how many of us actually like to do that? I should do something like this, right? Like put it over it or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so you discovered your daughter's autistic. My daughter's autistic. I solo parent her. Yeah, so I discovered it all in one day because I hit burnout, and burnout for me lowered all the masking that I have. It was all gone, like, and so all my coping mechanisms, all those little things, just gone. And so yeah, it was challenging, you know, to say the least. She likes that she knows who you are. She just smiled. That's awesome. Well, Yes. Um, so yeah, I discovered it because I hit burnout and all the coping mechanisms that I had basically unmasked it all. One of the big things for me that just didn't make any sense was a sensory sensitivity, that I masked that, but basically I internalized sound sensitivity by turning music up really loud and listening to music really loud and not really paying attention to. Um, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? Um, but yeah, what was I saying about the you guys are all getting me all worked up here. Anyway, so the masking dropped and everything, sound sensitivity. I turned up music all the way, and eventually it stopped hurting. But really, what was happening was it was like affecting my back, and I got used to it, meaning that my muscles just kind of like absorbed, the sound sensitivity. And when I hit my burnout, it was no longer just being absorbed. I wasn't tensing up, and so that tension that I would normally do when I hear sound was just gone. And so instead, I just felt what was happening. Where as a kid, I would have tightened up and tensed, but instead, doing all the somatic therapies and stuff that I'm doing, I felt nerve pain all over my whole body. And it was just like this huge spike of pain that just didn't make any sense. But it would reverberate with every unexpected sound. Every time my dog barked, I would like shake. And so um, that basically was what happened with that. But the thing was that I remember as a child being scared of fireworks because of the sound, being scared of certain public restrooms because the toilets were too loud, or the fan, the hand dryers. Um, and I just assumed that I grew out of it, but really I just internalized it. So yeah. Um, do I watch myself back? Sometimes. I was diagnosed at 6 years old, and just 2 weeks ago got diagnosed with PDD. What's PDD? Let me see here. It's a company. Um, um, it's the pervasive developmental disorder. What's that? Um, make something to eat. All right, Island World. I'm probably gonna be getting off here too. That makes sense. Thank you for the knowledge. My daughter is the same with sound. Yeah. So here's the thing. All right. When it comes to the sound, internalizing it is very bad, and eventually she may internalize it. All right. So I think one of the things that you may want to do, I don't know, maybe talk with somebody about this first, is that there is a sensation that you can feel on the back of your neck when you experience this. And kind of like once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. But what happens is it becomes an indicator for you that you need to protect your hearing. Okay, that you need to put something on, that you need to do this. And for me, having that pain, and experiencing it where I do, does kind of cause me to be like, ding, alarm, put headphones on. Because what I'm doing is not internalizing it and causing more stress on my nervous system. Instead, I'm protecting myself from whatever's happening that's going to cause additional stress that I'm not going to be able to release. So, I would talk with somebody about that, but definitely kind of keep that in mind, because I do feel that that would prevent a lot of internalizing that can happen later on. All right. Cool. All right. I think I'm going to be off, just like everyone else here. I appreciate all of you joining in and hanging out and all that, and hearing me out, all that stuff. Impasta syndrome. Thank you for the heart puff, Island World. Appreciate it. And the lightning bolt. Yeah, very, very great. Thank you all. I go live 6 a.m. every day, and there's a Discord link on my profile, or you can go to timadhd.com and there'll be a link there. I already had the domain, just didn't know why I need it. Now I know why I need it. So check that out, and then I may do some more pop-ups throughout the weekend outside of the 6 a.m. Actually, it's Sunday, so 6 a.m. tomorrow will happen. But yeah, maybe throughout the day. We'll see. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining. This was fun. And I will see you all later on. All right. Bye.